In 15th century Japan, a shogun broke his favorite tea bowl. Ashikaga Yoshimasa was a man who could have anything. But this bowl, Chinese celadon, generations old, was irreplaceable. So he sent it back to China, to the finest workshops in the world, for repair. What came back broke his heart a second time. The bowl had been stitched together with crude metal staples, functional, ugly, like a wound closed with wire. It held tea. It had stopped being beautiful. So the story goes, Yoshimasa turned to his own craftsmen with a challenge. Find a better way to mend what breaks. What they invented changed how a whole culture thinks about damage. They rejoined the broken pieces with lacquer and then dusted the seams with powdered gold. They didn't hide the cracks, they illuminated them. The repair became the most beautiful thing about the bowl. The art is called Kintsugi, golden joinery. And 5 centuries later, 2 psychologists sitting with survivors of the worst days of human life began hearing something that sounded impossibly like the same idea. By the end of this video, you'll know what can genuinely grow at the broken places, why the most famous sentence about surviving is only half true, and what every golden repair, in pottery and in people, actually requires. Kintsugi is slower than it looks. The craftsman doesn't glue a bowl back together in an afternoon. The broken edges are joined with urushi, tree lacquer, then dried, sanded, lacquered again, layer over layer. Weeks pass, sometimes months. Only at the end is the seam dusted with gold, so that the line where the bowl once failed becomes the line your eye goes to first. Underneath the technique sits a philosophy. In the aesthetics Kintsugi grew from, a repaired bowl isn't a damaged bowl restored to almost new. It's a bowl with a history, and the history is allowed to show. The break becomes part of the object's story, not the end of it. Notice what a strange claim that is. Every other tradition of repair aims at disguise. Make it look like nothing happened. Kintsugi aims at the opposite. Something happened, and the object survived it, and both of those facts are written on its surface in gold. The question is whether anything like that is true of people. In the early 1990s, psychologists Richard Tedeschi and Lawrence Calhoun were interviewing people who had survived the heaviest things a life can hold: bereaved parents, accident survivors, people living through severe illness and loss. They expected to catalog damage, and the damage was real: grief, fear, sleepless years. Nobody in those rooms would have chosen what happened to them, but alongside the pain, the researchers kept hearing something they hadn't expected. I know who my real friends are now. I'm softer with people. I'm not afraid of small things anymore. I finally know what matters. They heard it so often that they gave it a name: posttraumatic growth. Their definition is worth reading slowly. Posttraumatic growth is the experience of positive change that occurs as a result of the struggle with highly challenging life crises. Across studies, the growth kept landing in the same 5 places: deeper relationships, new possibilities, a sense of personal strength. If I survive that, I can survive this. Greater appreciation of ordinary life, and for many, a deepened spiritual or philosophical life. And this wasn't rare. In study after study, a substantial share of survivors, often around half, sometimes more, reported real growth in at least one of these areas. Be careful with what this does not say. It does not say the event was worth it. It does not say the pain ends. Growth and grief showed up in the same people, at the same time. Gold seam and crack, on the same bowl. So how does it work? Where does the gold come from? The clearest answer starts with a researcher you've already met. Ronnie Janoff Bullman, one of the psychologists behind the lottery winner study from our last episode, spent years studying what trauma does to belief. Her conclusion: each of us carries a set of quiet assumptions. The world is basically safe. Life is fairly predictable. I am the kind of person things work out for. A severe event doesn't just hurt, it shatters those assumptions, the way an earthquake levels a structure. And here is the pivot the growth researchers found. The growth doesn't come from the event. It comes from the rebuilding, the long struggle to construct a view of the world that can hold what happened and still be worth living in. The quake gives you nothing. The reconstruction is where the new strength is poured, which is why the most famous sentence on this subject needs correcting. "What does not kill me makes me stronger," Nietzsche wrote. It's carved into a million gym walls. And the research says, not quite. What doesn't kill you, quite often, just hurts you. There is nothing automatic about growth, no law that suffering upgrades a person. Trauma is not a training program. Hemingway came closer, one word closer. "The world breaks everyone," he wrote, and afterward, "Many are strong at the broken places." Many, not all. Hemingway's honesty matches the data almost perfectly. Growth is common, real, and never guaranteed. The difference between the two sentences is the difference between a broken bowl left in a drawer and a broken bowl in a craftsman's hands. Return for a moment to the workshop. Notice what Kintsugi never does. No craftsman breaks a bowl on purpose. The art has no interest in celebrating damage. It begins only after the worst has already happened, with a quieter question. Given the pieces, what now? And notice what the bowl cannot do. Repair itself. Every Kintsugi bowl passed through someone's hands. Someone patient, someone skilled, someone willing to sit with the pieces for months. The lacquer is slow. The layers cannot be rushed. The research on human repair says the same two things. Growth almost never happens in isolation. In the studies, people who grew usually did their rebuilding with someone. A friend who could hear the story, a community. And sometimes, when the break was deep, a professional whose craft is exactly this. And it does not run on a schedule. Some seams take years to reach the gold. That isn't failure, that's lacquer drying. So if something in your life is sitting in pieces, recently, or from long ago, what does the research actually suggest? 3 things, offered gently. First, give the story words. Psychologist James Pennebaker ran a famous series of experiments. People wrote privately about their hardest experiences, 15 minutes a day, a few days in a row. Compared to people writing about neutral topics, their health improved for months afterward. Putting the event into words is how the mind moves from the shattering to the rebuilding, from the thoughts that ambush you to the thoughts you choose. A notebook no one will ever read is a workshop. Second, let someone hold the pieces with you. The rebuilt worldview, in the research, is almost always co-built. You don't need many people. You need 1 or 2 who can listen without flinching and without rushing you. And if the break is deep, if it's the kind that doesn't soften with time, there are craftsmen for people too. Reaching for one is not weakness. It's what the bowl would do, if it could. Third, when growth comes, let it show. If the struggle has changed you, made you softer, clearer about what matters, harder to frighten, you're allowed to say so, even while the ache remains. Honoring the seam is not betraying the break. On a Kintsugi bowl, the gold and the crack are the same line. And the one question, for when you're ready, not a day sooner, not, why did this break? That question has no floor. The craftsman's question, what can the repair hold that the unbroken bowl never could? Yoshimasa's broken bowl should have been the end of a story. Instead, it started an art form, because a culture decided that broken and finished are not the same word. 500 years later, the psychologists arrived with their interviews and their 5 domains, and confirmed what the craftsmen had been saying in lacquer and gold all along. The break is real, the pain is real, and so, for many, is what gets built along the seam. The craftsman said, Repair with gold. Science measured what can grow there. That's where the sage meets the science. Next time, an old master is asked to explain the way, and refuses, saying those who know do not speak. 25 centuries later, psychologists asked people to explain how a toilet works, and discovered why the old man may have been the most honest thinker who ever lived. That story, and the illusion we all live inside, is next. Subscribe so you don't miss it.